She was returning baby formula. Then a billionaire behind her said, "Not today." Allison Parker stood in the checkout line at Westfield Grocery, exhaustion etched on her face as she gently bounced her 9-month-old son, Noah, on her hip. His chubby fingers tangled in her disheveled blonde hair while she fumbled with her wallet. The fluorescent lights overhead highlighted the dark circles under her eyes, a mark of motherhood she'd worn proudly for the past 9 months, despite everything falling apart. "That'll be $78.43, the cashier announced, her voice flat after 8 hours on the job. Allison stared at the total in dismay. She'd carefully calculated everything but was still over budget. Her gaze fell on the premium formula, Noah's favorite, but at $32.99, it was nearly half her total. Her stomach tightened as she quickly did the math. "I'm sorry. I need to put this back," she said, separating the formula. She'd get the store brand next time. The words felt like stones in her throat. The store brand gave Noah terrible gas, but her bank account couldn't take another hit. "No problem, ma'am," the cashier replied mechanically, reaching for the canister. "Not today," a deep voice said from behind her. Allison turned to find herself face to face with a tall man in a perfectly tailored navy suit. His presence commanded attention, but it was his eyes that caught her off guard, warm brown and startlingly kind in the sterile grocery store. "I've got it," he said, pulling out a sleek leather wallet and handing a credit card to the cashier before Allison could protest. "The formula, too." "Sir, I can't accept," Allison began. But Noah chose that moment to let out a piercing wail, ending her objection. "Consider it paid forward," the man said with a gentle smile. "I'm Jack, by the way. Jack Harrison." The name sparked a memory, but with Noah screaming and a line forming, she couldn't place it. "Thank you, but really you don't have to." "Already done," Jack replied as the cashier handed him back his card. "Besides, my mother would haunt me if I didn't help a mom in need." There was something genuine about him that made Allison pause. In the 3 months since Ryan had walked out, leaving her with a 6-month-old and a mountain of debt, she'd grown suspicious of kindness. "Thank you," she finally managed, her voice thick with emotion she suppressed. "I'm Allison. This is Noah." Jack smiled at the baby, who had suddenly become fascinated by the stranger, his cries turning to curious coos. "Nice to meet you both. Let me help you to your car." Outside, as Jack helped load the groceries into her ancient Honda with the dented bumper and peeling paint, Allison felt a strange mix of gratitude and embarrassment. "I don't normally accept help from strangers," she said, securing Noah in his car seat. "I don't normally offer," Jack replied with a laugh. "But sometimes life throws unexpected moments our way." Allison nodded, remembering how quickly life could change. 6 months ago, she'd been a marketing coordinator with a promising career, a husband she thought loved her, and a beautiful baby boy. Now she was a single mother working part-time from home, stretching every dollar. "Well, thank you again," she said, closing the car door. "You've made a bigger difference than you know." Jack hesitated, then reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card. "Look, I know this might seem odd, but I'm actually the CEO of Little Dreamers." Allison's eyes widened. Little Dreamers was one of the largest baby product companies in the country. Suddenly, she remembered why his name sounded familiar. She'd seen his profile in a business magazine. "We're looking for parents to join our product testing program," he continued. "You'd receive products to test and provide feedback, plus compensation for your time. It's all remote work, perfect for busy parents." The offer sounded too good to be true, and in Allison's experience, that meant it usually was. "Why me?" she asked directly, protective instincts flaring. Jack's expression softened. "Honestly, we need more single parents in our program. They're our toughest critics and give the most valuable feedback. Plus, Noah seems like he has a lot to say." He gestured to the baby, who was now babbling animatedly. Allison couldn't help but smile. "He definitely has opinions." "Think about it," Jack said, stepping back from her car. "No pressure. My email's on the card." That night, after putting Noah to bed, Allison sat at her kitchen table staring at Jack's business card. A quick internet search confirmed he was exactly who he claimed to be, the 38-year-old CEO who had transformed Little Dreamers. What the articles didn't mention was his kindness to strangers in grocery stores. Her fingers hovered over her laptop keyboard, debating emailing him. Was this an opportunity or another disappointment? The memory of Ryan's final words echoed in her mind. "You're naive, Allison, always believing the best in people." Maybe she was, but Noah deserved every opportunity she could provide. With a deep breath, she began typing. "Dear Mr. Harrison, this is Allison Parker from the grocery store today. I'd like to learn more about your product testing program." She hit send before she could change her mind, unaware that this simple email would transform her life. 2 days later, Allison received a response from Little Dreamers HR with details about the program and an invitation to a virtual orientation the following week. Everything seemed legitimate, but a voice in the back of her mind, one that sounded suspiciously like Ryan, whispered caution. As she prepared for the video call, settling Noah with his toys, Allison couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to happen. When her screen filled with the faces of the Little Dreamers team, including Jack, she realized this might be the second chance she'd been praying for. What she didn't know was that Jack Harrison had his own reasons for being at that checkout line. Reasons that would soon intertwine their lives in ways neither could have imagined. The orientation began with introductions. Jack spoke last, his professional demeanor a stark contrast to the kind stranger from the grocery store. "We believe parents know best what babies need," he explained. "That's why your feedback is invaluable." Allison listened intently, taking notes while occasionally checking on Noah, who was happily gumming a teething ring. When it came time for the parent participants to introduce themselves, she felt nervous. "I'm Allison Parker," she began, adjusting her webcam. "Single mom to Noah, who's 9 months old. I was a marketing coordinator before becoming a mom. Now I'm freelancing trying to figure things out." Jack's expression warmed when she appeared on screen. "Welcome, Allison. We're glad to have your perspective." The orientation continued with explanations of the testing process, confidentiality agreements, and compensation details. It was more comprehensive than Allison had expected. By the end of the call, her skepticism had given way to cautious excitement. As the other participants signed off, Jack asked Allison to stay on the call. "How's Noah doing with that formula?" he asked. "Much better, thank you," she replied, surprised he remembered. "That was a really difficult day." Jack nodded, his expression shifting subtly. "I recognized that look. My sister had it often enough when she was raising my nephew alone." He paused. "Allison, there's another reason I wanted to talk to you. Your marketing background caught my attention. We're actually looking to expand our parent focus group into a full advisory panel, and we need someone to coordinate it. It would be a contracted position with flexible hours." Allison's heart raced. A real job opportunity with flexible hours. "Yes, I'd be very interested." "Great. Our HR director will contact you with details." "And Allison, I have a good feeling about this." After they disconnected, Allison picked up Noah and spun him around the living room, his giggles filling the small apartment. "Things might be looking up, little man," she whispered. What she couldn't know was that across town, Jack Harrison sat in his office staring at her resume, a photograph on his desk showing him with a dark-haired woman holding a baby. His assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Mr. Harrison, your sister's on line 1. Jack picked up the phone. "Hey, Michelle." "Yes, I found her." "Allison Parker, you were right. She's perfect for the position." 3 weeks into her contract, Allison was beginning to feel like her old self again. The advisory panel coordinator position played to her strengths, and the income eased her financial strain. Today, she sat surrounded by prototype baby products sent for her review. A spill-proof sippy cup, organic bamboo teething toys, and a baby carrier designed for comfort. Noah crawled among them, immediately drawn to a colorful stacking toy. "That one's the winner, huh?" she said, snapping a photo of him gnawing on the rings. She typed notes into her laptop. Vibrant colors attract attention. Rings easy for small hands to grasp. Texture appealing for teething babies. Her phone chimed with an incoming video call from Jack. These weekly check-ins had become a highlight of her schedule, though she tried not to examine that fact too closely. "Hey there," Jack greeted when she answered. He was in his office, the city skyline visible behind him. "How's our youngest product tester doing today?" Currently testing the stacking rings, Allison replied, turning the camera toward Noah, who babbled at the familiar face. Excellent research technique, Jack laughed. How about his research coordinator? How are you doing? Allison turned the camera back to herself. Honestly, better than I've been in months. This job has given me purpose again. After Ryan left, I was just trying to survive each day. Now I'm actually building something. Jack's expression shifted at the mention of Ryan. His loss, he said simply. Listen, I'm calling because we have an opportunity one think you'd be perfect for. We're hosting a product showcase for investors next Friday at our headquarters. I'd like you to present the advisory panel findings. Allison's eyes widened. Me in person? Jack. You haven't done a presentation since before Noah was born. I'm not sure. You're exactly the right person, Jack interrupted gently. Who better to speak about products for parents than an actual parent using them? The board needs to see the real impact of what we're doing. She bit her lip, calculating logistics. I'd need to find childcare for Noah. Bring him, Jack said immediately. We have an on-site daycare for employees. He'll be right in the building if you need him. Allison hesitated, thinking of her limited professional wardrobe. The company will cover your transportation and any expenses. This is important, Allison. Your perspective is valuable. Something in his earnest expression dissolved her reluctance. Okay, she agreed. I'll do it. After the call ended, Allison picked up Noah and spun him around the living room, his giggles filling the small apartment. Things might be looking up, little man, she whispered. What she couldn't know was that across town, Jack Harrison sat in his office staring at her resume, a photograph on his desk showing him with a dark-haired woman holding a baby. The weekend passed in a flurry of preparation. Allison dusted off her presentation skills, created compelling slides, and tried on every item in her closet twice. By Thursday evening, her nerves had reached a fever pitch. This is just work, she told her reflection. You're a professional. Act like one. Friday morning arrived with a persistent drizzle that matched Allison's mood. The car service Jack had arranged arrived on time. The driver helped load Noah's diaper bag. The Little Dreamers' headquarters was a modern glass building downtown. Jack met them personally, dressed impeccably in a charcoal suit. Welcome to our humble abode, he said, his eyes crinkling when he smiled at Noah. Someone's gotten bigger since I last saw him. He grows overnight sometimes, Allison replied, trying to ignore the warmth that spread through her chest. Important day today, buddy, Jack said seriously to the baby, who responded by offering him a soggy teething biscuit. I'll save that for later. Allison laughed, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. Sorry, he's in a sharing phase. The best quality in a person, Jack said. Let's get this little man settled in daycare, and then I'll show you around before the presentation. The daycare center was bright and cheerful. After reviewing Noah's schedule and promising to check in before lunch, she followed Jack on a tour of the building. This is where the magic happens, Jack explained as they walked through the product development floor. Allison was genuinely impressed by the thoughtful workspace. Photos of babies and families decorated the walls. You really practice what you preach about family-friendly policies, she observed. Jack nodded, his expression serious. It's personal for me. My sister struggled so much when my nephew was little. Finding childcare, managing sick days, juggling it all alone. I promised myself if I ever had the power to make things different for working parents, I would. As they approached a conference room, Jack suddenly stopped. There's something else you should know before the presentation. His tone made Allison's stomach tighten. My sister Michelle will be there today. Oh, Allison said, confused. I'd love to meet her. Jack's gaze was intense. Michelle is our chief financial officer. She's very protective of this company and of me. Before Allison could process that information, the conference room door opened and a striking woman with dark hair and Jack's same warm brown eyes stepped out. Jack, the investors are arriving early. And she stopped abruptly, her gaze settling on Allison with unexpected recognition. You must be Allison Parker. Yes, Allison confirmed, extending her hand. It's nice to meet you. Michelle's handshake was firm, her scrutiny direct. Likewise. Jack has told me all about you. Something in her tone suggested layers of meaning Allison couldn't decipher. There was an intensity to Michelle's examination that went beyond professional interest. "All good things, I hope," Michelle said, glancing at her brother. "Very good things," Michelle confirmed, looking at Jack. "I'm particularly interested in your presentation today. Your background is fascinating." Jack cleared his throat. "We should get ready. The investors will be here soon." As they entered the conference room, Allison couldn't shake the feeling that something significant had just happened, some undercurrent she wasn't privy to. The presentation itself went better than Allison could have hoped. Her enthusiasm shone through as she shared insights from the parent advisory panel. The investors asked engaged questions, impressed by the real-world testing approach. Throughout, Jack watched her with undisguised pride, while Michelle observed with calculating interest. When the meeting adjourned for lunch, Allison excused herself to check on Noah. In the elevator, she finally had a moment to breathe. As the doors were about to close, a hand shot out to stop them and Michelle stepped in. "You did well in there," she said. "Very well. Thank you." Michelle studied her. "My brother mentioned that your ex-husband left when your son was 6 months old." The abrupt statement caught Allison off guard. "Yes. He raised his son alone." Michelle's expression softened. "I'm so sorry," Allison said sincerely. "My husband died when my son was 2. Different circumstances but similar challenges." "I'm so sorry." Michelle laughed softly. "Jack has always been my champion, and now it seems he's become yours." Before Allison could respond, the elevator arrived at the daycare floor. As she stepped out, Michelle added, "Just be careful, Allison. There's more history here than you know." The cryptic warning lingered in Allison's mind as she collected Noah for lunch. What had Michelle meant? What history was she referring to? And why did she have the unsettling feeling that there was something important Jack wasn't telling her? The success of the investor presentation catapulted Allison into a more prominent role at Little Dreamers. Over the next 2 months, her part-time contract expanded to full-time employment with benefits. Noah thrived in the company daycare 3 days a week while she worked from the office, spending the other 2 days at home. But Michelle's cryptic warning continued to nag at her. Despite frequent interactions with Jack, there remained an invisible barrier between them. Moments when his gaze would drift away as if hiding something. On a crisp autumn morning, Allison arrived early to prepare for the quarterly review. The office was quiet. She stopped by the break room for coffee and nearly collided with Michelle, who appeared equally surprised to see anyone else there. "You're dedicated," Michelle observed. "Big presentation today." Allison reached for a mug. Michelle studied her. "Have you ever wondered why Jack was at that particular grocery store on that particular day?" The question blindsided Allison. "I assumed it was coincidence." Michelle's expression suggested anything but. "Jack doesn't shop at Westfield Grocery. It's 20 minutes from his apartment and in the opposite direction from the office." Allison set her empty mug down. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying my brother has his reasons for everything he does." Michelle glanced toward the empty hallway. "Ask him about Ryan." Ryan, her ex-husband. Confusion and unease rippled through Allison. What would Jack know about Ryan? Michelle checked her watch. "I've said too much already." Before Allison could formulate a response, Jack entered. "Everything okay?" he asked, concern evident. "Just catching up," Michelle said, her tone carefully neutral. "I'll leave you two to it." After Michelle left, Jack turned to Allison. "Is everything all right?" What did Michelle mean about Ryan? Allison asked directly. Jack's shoulders stiffened. "Yes, I knew who Ryan was before I met you at the grocery store." The confirmation sent a chill through Allison. "How?" "Brookfield Financial Group is one of our largest investors. Ryan worked in their analysis department. About a year ago, he approached me privately with information." Allison's mind raced. What kind of information? Financial projections, competitor strategies, internal discussions, things he shouldn't have had access to. He was offering corporate espionage? Jack nodded. "I reported him to Brookfield's ethics committee immediately. There was an internal investigation and he was terminated." Allison felt as though the floor had dropped from beneath her. "He never told me. I had no idea he was married at the time. much less that his wife was expecting a baby. Allison's thoughts whirled. That's not why you were at that grocery store. Jack exhaled slowly. I recognized your last name. I did some checking and confirmed you were Ryan's ex-wife. I wanted to make amends, I suppose. You felt guilty about getting my husband fired, so you threw me a job as charity? That's not how it happened, Jack said firmly. When Ryan was exposed, I thought that was the end of it. Then about 4 months ago, my sister Michelle received a threatening email from an anonymous account. The sender claimed I had fabricated evidence against Ryan Parker, destroyed his career, and ruined his family. They promised to return the favor by bringing down little dreamers. You think Ryan was stalking you? We weren't sure. Our security team traced the emails to a public library near your apartment building. That's when I first saw you dropping off books with Noah. Jack paused. You looked exhausted, struggling with the diaper bag and books. I couldn't walk away. Allison felt a wave of conflicting emotions. So you decided to what? Investigate me? Get close to see if I was helping Ryan. Initially, Jack admitted, I wanted to learn more about you, see if you were connected to the threats. But within weeks, I knew without doubt you weren't involved. You earned your place here completely on merit. Allison stood, needing distance. Why keep the truth from me? I wanted to tell you so many times, but how do you tell someone you approached them because you thought they might be trying to destroy your company? But surprise, you were wrong. And now you can't imagine this place without you? Allison's heart ached. I can't do this right now, she said. I need space. Jack didn't try to stop her. I understand. But Allison, if Ryan is still out there, still angry, please be careful. Allison spent the night at Michelle's guest house, exhausted and confused. The next morning, Jack arrived with coffee and a grim update. Ryan is cooperating with police. He had a laptop with him containing confidential files. They're charging him with corporate espionage and breaking and entering. Allison's hands tightened around her mug. What happens now? Your job is secure. None of this was your fault. I'm still processing everything, Allison said. Finding out my ex-husband is a corporate spy. Jack took her hand. Some people can't face their own mistakes. They need someone else to blame. A few weeks later, Allison was back at work, feeling cautiously optimistic. She'd installed a state-of-the-art security system in her apartment and was slowly rebuilding her trust in Jack. One evening, as they were leaving the office together, Jack stopped her in the lobby. I know I messed up, he said, his voice sincere. I should have been honest with you from the beginning, but I was afraid of losing you. Allison smiled, a warmth spreading through her chest. I was afraid of losing you too. Jack leaned in and kissed her, a gesture that felt both familiar and new. I'm glad we're past that now, he whispered. Me too, Allison replied. As they walked out into the night, hand in hand, Allison knew that their journey wouldn't be easy, but she also knew that they would face whatever challenges came their way, together.